What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another KJ MMA show. I am Ryan Jarrell. He is Garrett Kerman, and this Saturday is going to be a fun one. UFC 275 goes down, and obviously is headlined by the light heavyweight championship of the world, Glover Teixeira defending his belt against Yuri Prochazka, and then Valentina Shevchenko, for my money, the best female fighter, pound for pound, on planet Earth, against Talia Santos, which is an intriguing matchup. So a lot to get to, Garrett. This really is a great card, top to bottom. Let's just start right with the big one, with the 205 championship. I just gonna get it right out there. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I genuinely like and cheer for Glover Teixeira. How can you not? He's easily one of the nicest guys. Oldest champion in UFC history, first-time champion, 42 years old, and here he is against Prochazka, who's terrifying. He's a dynamic striker, very, very dangerous, calculated fighter. And Prochazka is a minus 195 favorite. So Glover is the underdog at 165. How do you think the line is for this? Do you agree with it? Do you think the old guy is going to get the win, or do you feel like we're going to have an and new here?
Man, it's a tough one. I mean, I really like Prochazka in the way he's been, coming into UFC and just absolutely smoking everybody. That's what you want to see, especially in the light heavyweight division where it's literally up in the air. Anybody can really come out of there as the next contender, and he showed that he should be there, fighting for the title. And Teixeira's, he's like defying the odds and age at this time. He's 42 years old, the oldest, champion, I think, in history. And, he's just beating guy after guy after guy. But, this is a tough one because Prochazka is definitely a different breed. He's a different animal than who he's been facing. I mean, last two fights, yeah, he dominated Jan Blachowicz. It was very impressive. He dominated Anthony Smith. He dominated Thiago Santos. But those guys aren't Yuri Prochazka. I mean, the way he moves, his unorthodox style is very hard to, prepare for. I know he's got great kickboxers in his corner, Alex Pereira. He just throws so many unorthodox styles of strikes. It's going to be hard for Teixeira to really hone in on what he's doing, to read him on the feet and really be able to, cut off the cage, get in, take him down, because that's the only way he's going to win. On the feet, I don't see him being successful. Could he crack? Yes, of course. He can land a heavy right hand and put Prochazka out. We've seen him get rocked before, but I think his best path to victory is taking it down and subbing him, which is, it's possible. But I feel like I have to side with the younger, fresher fighter that's arguably the hardest puncher, hardest striker that Teixeira has faced since Rumble Johnson. He's faced Santos and Blachowicz, but those guys aren't nearly as powerful as Prochazka, especially Santos. After, blowing both of his ACLs, he hasn't been nearly the same power-wise or anything of the sort. Blachowicz, his, power is not nearly even remotely on the same level as Prochazka. So my money's going on Prochazka. I think he wins by knockout, but I would not be too surprised if Teixeira does it again, takes him down, and gets the sub.
I mean, I definitely agree with everything that you're saying here, but for me, when I look at Yuri's path to this UFC title here, his key win is over Dominic Reyes, who has lost 3 in a row now. And granted, I mean, a lot of people felt like Reyes beat John Jones at UFC 247, and he very well may have, but he goes on, he loses to Blachowicz in the second round, and then, obviously to Yuri most recently. So when I look at Prochazka, I just don't feel like he's clearly as battle tested as someone like Glover. I mean, Glover's been around the game forever. I just feel like Glover, collectively speaking, has fought the tougher competition. And one thing that intrigues me about this is Glover's always the smarter fighter in there. He's just so technically sound and sticks to his game plan and doesn't put himself in any imminent danger. He's so smart, and he's just shown that time in and time out. So I just feel like, Yuri, that's the one thing that intrigues me about this fight is Yuri going to be able to fight a smart fight and not allow Glover to corner him, to press him up against the cage, to do his dirty boxing, get him on the ground. Because if this goes to the ground, we're in Glover Teixeira's world, and he is just defying time, father time, over and over. He's the Tom Brady right now of the UFC, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm with you, Yuri. is so dynamic. He is very, very scary striker. And I agree with a lot that you're saying. I'm just going with my gut, and granted, I'm just going to tie this in. I feel like my gut and my heart are intertwined here because I want Glover to win. This is such a close fight for me, and I feel like Glover could shock the world one more time and defend this belt and get his hand raised. I foresee maybe like a late third, fourth round submission win for Glover. I feel like if Yuri wins, it's going to be quick. It's going to be first, second round, TKO or KO. You know what I like to do? I like to bet DraftKings. For me, this is easy. I'm sliding Glover into a lineup just because I love the guy, and I feel like he has a solid chance to spring the upset even as the champion. But it's going to be a banger, man. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, absolutely. The question is, if Yuri does get it done, who beats Glover? Because someone's going to beat him eventually. I mean, that Father Time's definitely going to creep up, and his chin's going to go at some point because your chin goes as age comes. So the question is, if Yuri doesn't get it done, who gets it done?
That's a good question. I feel like what I'd have to do right now is just go to UFC.com and pull up the rankings here at light heavyweight. So let's do that right now. Paul Craig, he's someone that I feel like could potentially down the line, if he gets a couple more wins, he could get a title shot. I mean, I'm not like as bullish on him as I would be someone like Rakic or Prohaska, but I don't know, man. I keep going back to Blachowicz. I feel like him at his best could beat anybody, but let's be real. The top of the division at 205 is a little stale when you compare it now to the heavyweight division. Now that John Jones has left and is at heavyweight, there are so many intriguing matchups at heavyweight to look forward to. So, and I wouldn't mind Glover defending it here, fighting once or twice more, and then riding off into the sunset. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But again, right now we have Yuri, the favorite, minus 195 against Glover, the dog, plus 165. So that's your main event. Our co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko against Talia Santos. And my goodness, talk about a spread. Minus 630 is the last that I saw for Shevchenko, the defending champion. For me, this is a lock. I think Talia Santos is dangerous. On any given Sunday, right? Like, or in this case, any given Saturday, anyone can lose. I mean, this is MMA, 4-ounce gloves, anything can happen. But Valentina Shevchenko is so damn good. I just can't see her losing this. I don't envision any other scenario other than her winning via stoppage or UD. That's it for me.
It's really tough to go against Shevchenko here, even given the line. You're not making too much money, but Shevchenko should get it done. I feel like it's going to be a little tougher than people suggest. I think she's a tough competitor. She's super strong. She's got heavy hands. She's got good grappling, as we've seen in her last fight against Joanne Wood. She's got 3 knockdowns, I believe, in the last 2 fights. One punch can sway things, but I just don't think it's Shevchenko's time to lose yet. It's really hard to go against her here. It really is.
1,000% agree. I honestly don't even feel like we need to spend too much time on this right now because I don't know what female in the UFC is going to beat Valentina, except maybe, if she fights Amanda again. But I even felt Shevchenko won that second fight against Nunez. So, there's that to consider. So what I want to see is if Valentina wins here, which I fully expect her to. And if Nunez can beat Pena, I know that's a totally different weight class there, but I would like to see that trilogy fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Amanda Nunes.
Do you know it's crazy, right? If you look at the stats, Jessica Andrade, Lauren Murphy, and Jennifer Maia combined landed only 57 significant strikes between the 3 of them. That's insane. And we can go even further back. Caitlin Chukagian only landed 17. Liz Carmouche only landed 18. Jessica I landed 2. That is insane.
It's incredible. And, I don't know if you've seen, like, she's been doing some acting and whatnot. Valentina Shevchenko is the real life female version of Jason Bourne. Yeah. That's basically what she is. She's an absolute assassin. So I would be floored. And I know I've said that before, and then I end up being wrong. This one's a slam dunk. She's going to go in there. She's going to retain her belt, and she's going to look impressive doing it. Now, a female fight that I feel like could go either way that I am really excited about is this rematch between Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Weili Zhang. Right now, Joanna's a plus 140 dog. Weili is a minus 160 favorite. I mean, one of the best fights we've ever seen in the history of the UFC, in the history of mixed martial arts. This first go round, I mean, by the time they were done, Joanna looked like she had an alien growing out of the side of her head. So, and she said that fight made her better. She went back to the drawing board. She's hungrier. She got more focused, more driven, and she says she's a better version of herself going into this rematch against Wei Li. Garrett, do you think she gets it done, or do you feel like Wei Li's going to be able to get this win again?
Given the odds, I'm taking a shot on Joanna, plus 140. I think we're getting good value there. I think it's a pick 'em at best. Joanna is going to do what she does best. She's going to be able to, stay on the outside, use her range, use her kicks. And, she was winning, a good portion of that fight until Roy Lee, overcame some adversity down the stretch and really put it on Joanna, which really swayed the judges. But, it's a close fight. You're getting plus 140 on a fight that's essentially 50-50. I'm taking a shot on Joanna, coming back stronger, better than ever, and trying to get herself back into title contention. I'm taking a shot on the dog here.
I'm with you, too. I do feel like we're going to see the best possible version of Joanna Jędrzejczyk here. I think she gets the win. I don't think she's going to finish her. I think Wei Li is just far too tough. I think this goes the distance. It's going to be a decision, but I am leaning towards Joanna to even it up here. And hopefully down the line, we'll get that trilogy matchup between these two high-level female mixed martial artists. Now, this next matchup, Manel Kape, Rosario Bontorin. Whew, this is an exciting one. Manel is a minus 220 favorite. Bontorin is a plus 180 dog. I'm leaning towards Kape here to get the win. I just feel like he's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more powerful. Do you agree with me, or do you feel like Rosario is going to win?
No, I'm fairly confident in Kape getting it done here. I love to fade Rosario Bontorin, especially against good fighters. And Kape's a very good fighter. He's good on the mat. He's shown that. And he's much more powerful on the feet. So Bontorin's only chance of winning this fight is take it to the mat, getting the submission or keeping him down there, which is possible. I mean, we've seen Kape get taken down before against Pantoja, but yeah, I don't think he'll be able to do that for 15 minutes. I think he gets beaten up on the feet pretty bad. This would be another good win under Kape, and he's going to be able to keep moving up the rankings.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We're in agreement here, pretty much on every fight so far, minus the main event. But this next one, I'm really really intrigued about, because when I saw Jack Della Maddalena on Contender Series, I was like, my God, this guy, he's a specimen. His striking is perfect. I mean,
right.
He's just so technical, so much power, so fast. And he has this like mean streak to him when he's in there, where he's like a shark in the water. When they smell blood, he attacks. And I spoke to him leading up to this fight. It was a fantastic interview. He's a super nice guy, and he told me that he feels his key to victory here is to stick and move, right? And clearly that's the best way to beat a wrestling heavy guy like Ramazan Emeev. I mean, we've seen his pedigree, we've seen what he does, and he is a very tough fighter, but that's what he's going to be leaning on is closing the distance, making this into a wrestling match, getting it to the ground. So we're going to find out a little bit more about Jack Della Maddalena's takedown defense, if Emeev is able to actually get him there, because that's what he's going to be doing for this whole fight. But Della Maddalena is a minus 150 favorite. Emeev's a plus 130 dog. I'm going with Della Maddalena all day on this one. I think he gets the job done inside 3 rounds. I think he's going to finish him. I'm probably going to say late second, early third. How are you feeling about this one, Garrett?
I'm taking Della to get the win. I got him at minus 130 yesterday. So the value is pretty much all but gone on Della at this point. My only drawback is he's fought absolutely nobody. There's not a single person that's UFC caliber, maybe Angelusa, but that's a stretch, that he's fought. I mean, he's fought some pretty mediocre competition through his entire career. So, of course, he's going to look great against bad competition. But Emeev, he doesn't throw a lot on the feet. So he's very, one-track minded, throws a lot of heavy leg kicks, 1-2s, just very technical on the feet, doesn't overextend, doesn't get hit a ton. And his bread and butter is his grappling, keeping you there and just rinse, repeat, and, try to get a win that way. We're going to see how Jack Della Maddalena does, against a wrestle-heavy Russian fighter. See how he fares going deep into a fight, having to defend takedowns. And this fight's going to really show us what he's really made of, because this is arguably the first real test for him. and the best fighter he's faced by a country mile. You're talking about a guy that has twice as many fights as him against much better competition. So we'll see what happens. I think Della's, he's a promising prospect. His ceiling is much higher than Amib at this point, and I'm truly hoping that he does well. I'm not as high as far as betting wise as other people are. I did place a bet on him just because I like the intangibles here. I think he's got more ways to win. I think he's more dangerous. It just comes down to his takedown defense, his cardio, and whether or not he's able to just get back up and stay off the cage. What does work for him is it's in a bigger octagon, and that, he doesn't have to worry about getting the cage cut off in a smaller cage like the Apex. But I think it's going to be a lot harder than people suggest. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people suggest. People are thinking, throw all your money on Della. I just don't see it. I throw a little bit on it. And hope for the best. I hope he does get it done. I do see him, potentially getting a knockout, but also I could see Amib just grinding him out for a decision win too.
Okay, well, I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena. I do think he gets it done, but I see your points, and granted, hands down the hardest fight of his career thus far. But get to the UFC, each and every one is going to be a little bit harder. Let's move now to the undercard, and I believe this is going to be the main event of the undercard. It's a middleweight bout. Brendan Allen, Jacob Malkoun. Brendan Allen is a minus 280 favorite. Malkoun plus 225 underdog. Look, I've been interviewing Brendan Allen since way before he was even the LFA champ. So where I'm going with this. And ever since he's moved to Sanford MMA, this guy's just really gone to another level. And he's been honest. Like sometimes he's made some mistakes, and he's been finished a couple of times. And I feel like he's learned from them. I feel Brendan Allen is just the bigger, stronger, more dynamic fighter here. And I thoroughly expect him to look very impressive in this fight. I'm going Brendan Allen. He's going to get a finish here, probably late second round. I think his striking accuracy and his technique is going to land this fight on the ground, and then his grappling and jiu-jitsu will finish it, and I think he's going to sub him.
It's interesting because I just don't think he should be a minus 280 favorite at all. We've seen him almost lose multiple times as a heavy favorite. He lost as a massive heavy favorite against Chris Curtis. And Malkoun's not a terrible fighter. Yeah, he lost against Phil Hawes, but, that was a tough fight. His first fight, his debut against a really tough, durable guy with a lot of power. I don't think Allen has nearly as enough power as Hawes. And the thing with Malkoun, he goes for a ton of takedowns. And we've seen Allen get taken down a ton in his fights. His takedown defense is only at 50%. So I feel like Malkoun could take this fight to the mat. He could grind it out. He could rack up some control time on top, land some heavy strikes. Brendan Allen's not a fighter to be fighting off his back. He's a fighter that's going to be on top. He's not going to win fights off his back, trying to sub with arm bars and triangle chokes and this and that. Off his back, he's going to get beat up. And, we're getting plus 220 or plus 230 on an underdog where he could possibly take it down and grind it out. I would take a shot, but there's no way in hell I would take Brendan Allen minus 280. That's just absurd.
Okay. Wow. I'm actually surprised to hear you say that, but interesting middleweight bout for sure. I mean, Brendan Allen, more than double the amount of experience than Jacob Malkoun, who's only 6-1. So this definitely is, for my money, a big step up for Malkoun to Brendan Allen. And when you talk about Phil Hawes, Brendan Allen, after he lost to Phil Hawes, they're training partners now at Sanford MMA. So his takedown defense, I feel like from what he has said in the past is improving ever since he's made that move from Rufus Sport to Sanford. So interesting middleweight bout there. I'm intrigued to get your thoughts on Steve Garcia and Mahashete, that matchup. That's an interesting one right there for me. I feel like Steve Garcia, who is a little bit of a favorite here, let's see, what is he at? Minus 155. Mahashete is plus 135. Do you agree with that line?
I feel like it should be a little bit closer because I'm not really high on Steve Garcia. I mean, yeah, he looked great against a really bad fighter in his last fight that shouldn't have been, in the UFC, Ontiveros, and he absolutely destroyed him. And then his striking, it's okay, but his striking defense is not great. He's gotten beat up. And Mahashate, whatever, however you say it, he looked good on the Contender Series. He got cracked a ton though. That's what I'm a little bit worried about if you were to go and bet on him. He keeps his head straight up. He gets hit a ton, but the thing is, he got dropped numerous times, but he was able to get back up, and he fought through it, and he came forward, and he's got some really good striking in his own right. Man, this is such a tough matchup for me to really gauge who the hell's going to win. These are two fighters I don't trust betting on. I don't trust my money with. If I had to pick, I would probably lean Steve Garcia. I think this fight should be aligned a bit closer. So I think there's some value on the Mahashate side. But yeah, I'd probably lean Garcia getting the job done. He's fought better competition. He's got a lot more experience. And I think he fights at a better camp too at Jackson Wink. We've seen some good things from him. We have not seen a lot from his counterpart yet, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, Mahashate, another guy with a 6-1 record, just like Jacob Malkoun. So you got Steve Garcia, double the amount of experience as his counterpart here in the lightweight division. Let's move down a weight class to featherweight. We have Joshua Culibao and Sung Woo Choi. Choi is actually a minus 225 favorite, so it's a pretty big favorite against Culibao, who's a plus 185 dog. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like Culibao is going to pull the upset?
I think Sung Woo Choi. I think he gets it done. I mean, he's pretty powerful on the feet. It really comes down to takedown defense because I think he's the better striker of the two. And I don't think Culibao is some great, wrestler, grappler that's really going to overwhelm Choi. So if this fight keeps staying on the feet and keep it at range, I think Choi should get the job done.
Okay. Another matchup here, Jake Matthews and Andre Fialho. That could be a banger. Both of these guys are very well rounded. This could steal, maybe the prelims fight of the night here. Fialho is a minus 140 favorite. Jake Matthews a plus 120 dog. Who do you see getting this one, Garrett?
Oh man, it's tough. It really, we have not seen a ton of grappling when it comes to Fialho. Boils down to whether Jake Matthews wants to grapple. There's sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. If he comes grappling, I like Matthews to win. But if he doesn't, I like Fialho. This is a case of a fight where I want to wait and I want to live bet. I want to see what Matthews is going to do. If Matthews is going to play Fialho's game and, stay on the outside, use his kicks, I don't like that. I don't like his chances. Because eventually I feel like he's going to get clipped. But if Matthews goes in there and gets some takedowns or attempts takedowns, I like his chances. But it's one of those fights you really don't know what kind of Matthews is going to come in there because he's not guaranteed to go and shoot for takedowns, even though he should. But yeah, I think this is a great fight. And it's just a great live betting scenario on this one.
Fialho's last two fights, both round one finishes. He looks great on the feet. And again, Sanford MMA, they're just pumping out stud after stud here. So he's been really impressive to me. I feel like if he stays within himself and fights his fight, he should be able to get it done against the game Jake Matthews. Now, we are running short on time, but there is a couple other fights here that we haven't discussed. The first couple fights of the evening here. Is there one or two that stands out to you, Garrett, that you feel like should be a good bet?
This is a shot in the dark, but I kind of want to take a shot on Liang Na by submission, a plus 235. She's got the grappling. She's got the submission skills. We've seen Juarez get subbed after knocking her opponent down to the point where she doesn't know where she is. Demopoulos got knocked down, realized she's on the mat, and grabbed an arm and subbed her. That's something Liang can easily do. So I'm taking a shot on her to win as an underdog, and I'm taking her to win as a by submission over plus 200. I think that's a great bet there. Also like Kyung Ho Kang as an underdog as well. I know he didn't look good in his last fight against Urijah, but it was another grappler. He got out grappled by a grappler, and Kang's a grappler in his own right. And I do think he's going to be able to take Bakary Dana down, because that's where his weaknesses is, his takedown defense and striking defense as well. But he's a bigger, longer fighter, and I think he's going to be able to get on the inside and potentially drag this fight to the mat and just kind of keep him there, maybe even get the submission.
All right, a lot of great fights at UFC 275. It all goes down in Singapore at the indoor stadium there. You can watch the prelims on ESPN Plus, and obviously you got to buy the pay-per-view if you're going to see these two title fights, and really just a stacked main card for you to check out. That's going to do it for the KJ MMA show. For Garrett Kerman, I'm Ryan Jarrell. Make sure you subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel.